Wow.
Welcome to DogStar.
Each week we sit down with a star of hip-hop and R&B, and this week we are sitting down with the truth teller. Thank you so much for making time for us today. How are you feeling?
I feel good. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you guys as well.
We appreciate you for coming through. Happy birthday, by the way.
And thank you.
We hope to make this a one to remember.
Yes, yes.
But
it will be.
Let's hop into the time machine. So we're doing research before you got here.
Okay.
It seems like you're from Anoka, Minnesota.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm not.
Rewind.
yeah, all right.
Absolutely not. I don't rep Anoka at all. I'm from North Minneapolis. I was born and raised in Minneapolis. I moved to Anoka when I was about like 13 or 14.
Okay, yeah. So that's my bad.
One of the many chapters.
Yeah, so like 8th grade in high school, but as soon as after high school, I moved from Anoka to Brooklyn Park. So
And it seemed like you were doing musical stuff pretty early on. I think it said like singing at 4, songwriting at 10, but were your parents musical at all? How'd you get into music so quick?
it's so funny. No, they're not at all. They cannot sing. They sound like they're dying. I gravitated towards music. I don't know why, but I just did. I was singing in church at 4, 4 or 5 years old, and then once I got older, I started writing songs. They were just kind of all over the place, but as I got older, it got better. So that's kind of what that was like.
I mean, what was the content of the songs around 5 or 6? Or...
I mean, for people who know Capricorns, because I'm a Capricorn, January 10th, what I will say is that the mythology behind a Capricorn is very depressing and sad. And so at a young age, 10 years old, I was writing a lot of depressing, sad music. So even now, the music is a little more sad and depressing. But yeah, back then it was very heavy topics. It's always been like that.
I mean, a healthy dose of melancholy never hurt anyone.
Yeah, sometimes music's the only place you can, what do you call it? When you're feeling the same emotion as somebody else, but like that specific emotion, it's like you don't find it in a lot of spots other than music. So that's very interesting. What can you remember? Any of your musical influences? Maybe other melancholy artists, or
I have a big, well, not even a big range. I like to stay in my bubble because music is not the same anymore, and so for me, it's really the '90s R&B that has influenced me. Both of my parents have played a part because my dad, he really likes the boy groups, and then my mom, she likes the women singers. And so I appreciate R&B for what it is. But also I had like my mom's sister or my dad's sister who liked female artists as well, but also like Prince and different people that just kind of bounced in between.
Yeah.
But for my influences, I love Mariah Carey. That's my end-all, be-all, favorite singer of all time, favorite songwriter of all time. That is my number one. I love Demi Lovato as well. That's one of my absolute favorites. You can't beat it in my book. I've seen her twice in concert.
Whoa.
I love Nicki Minaj, favorite female rapper, best female rapper there is to ever be. That's end all, be all, end of conversation for me. And then, Prince. I love Brandy as well. Brandy is one of my absolute favorites. When it comes to vocal stacking and stuff like that and the recording process, if you really listen to music and you pay attention to harmonies, I think that's the most important part of music is those little aspects. And then, of course, the king of pop, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was one of my biggest influences growing up. And I used to dance and do all of that stuff too. So when I was in high school, I did step, which, that's a form of dance. And so that was a big part of my life as well.
Cool.
So, but Michael Jackson was like, couldn't get me off of him when I was growing up. And then when he died, it was like, oh, wow, this is crazy.
And just so we have it for the history, your first time like on stage, really, you're talking about choir, but then you're also talking about the step team. When was the first time kind of performing in front of an audience?
It was church.
Nice.
I went to church with my grandparents a lot, and that's when I was singing that music. I remember the song "Shout to the Lord" or something like that by Hillsong. It's still one of my favorite songs to this day.
Nice.
It's a beautiful song. It's a ballad, actually, and that's what's funny about it. But that was like one of my first memorable moments on stage. Yeah.
What makes a ballad a ballad? I saw that on your.
If you know music, I'll give
Which
you a
I
couple
don't.
examples.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I would hope you know some.
Okay. I don't know the terms.
So a ballad is usually slower. Like it's either mid tempo or like completely slow. So like.
And mid is what, 120?
Lower.
Okay.
I would put it lower. You could put it at 120, but it could also be lower.
Okay.
Like I have a song called Midnight Affairs. That's a mid-tempo R&B song. That's like mid-tempo. Okay. And then I have songs like Call You by Mine, the first version and the tribute. But with the tribute and then Call You by Mine, just the regular standard version, the standard version is like 65 beats per minute. So it's like a very slow tempo.
Yeah.
And then you have Call You by Mine tribute, which is like 75 or maybe 80.
Oh.
I can't remember the exact.
Picked it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But still both falling in the range of a ballad.
Exactly. So it's just, it depends. Like there's Your Love Takes Time and there's You're Not Alone by Michael Jackson. There's Mariah Carey and Michael Jackson. So it's just those little aspects. So, but ballads, even like with the band Journey, they have a song called Open Arms. That song is a ballad. That's a rock ballad. So, well, power ballad, I should say.
And is it because of the length of the song or like the number of choruses or?
No, it's simply with ballads, it always tends to the sound of the instruments, I feel like, because all ballads kind of have like a general sound, so to speak. Like they don't sound the same, but they all have the same sound, like similar. It's like sonically it's similar in some way. So it's either slow or it has a piano, it might have drums. So like for instance with the song Open Arms by Journey, that's a power ballad. Rock music is the reason why power ballads were really pushed and really big.
Just like major keys, or what's the difference between a ballad and a power ballad?
A ballad is like more soft.
Okay.
That's how I take it personally.
Power
I don't know
ballad
the
might
technical.
just be electric guitar plus ballad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Power ballad.
All I can say is I don't know the exact technical definitions behind these things.
No,
But what
no
I
worries.
can say is that when it comes to a ballad, one ballad might be more piano and less extra instruments like the guitars and the drums and all this other stuff. But then a power ballad is like a big, forceful song that's slow, but it still gives that power and that drive at the same time. So that's why power ballads were heavy in rock bands.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
No, thank you for breaking that down. I
Yes.
know
Yeah.
us as well as listeners will be quite pleased because we hear the word all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And not so much in hip hop, more so just in R&B. So
Yes.
it's like the crossover.
Yes. So yeah.
But yeah, first time on stage was church. And then the songwriting, like, was there a moment where you were like, this is what I want to do? Because it's like everybody's singing in church. So it's like it's kind of feels like what you're supposed to do, but maybe in other areas of your life wouldn't have been so inviting. When were you like start moving against the grain and being like, I want to be a songwriter, I want to be a singer?
Well, with the songwriting piece, I can't really remember how that came about.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that my mom's sister, my aunt, she's a poet.
Oh, no.
She's also like big in Minneapolis as well. So she has done poetry books and stuff like that. So I feel like that's where the writing sense came from, where I just started to pick it up after a while. But also in my childhood, I've dealt with a lot. And so for me, it was an outlet as well to be able to put my feelings down on paper or just kind of write down what I had going on, so to speak. Some of it might, when I look back, it might not even be songs at this point. It's more of like, okay, I know exactly what you were dealing with at that time.
Yeah.
Because like I have over 40 songbooks. I still have my first original songbook.
That's
my
so
gosh.
awesome.
And so when it comes down to it, it's like at 10, and now I'm 23, about to be 24.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy to think about. So yeah.
And do you ever revisit those either for
All the time.
emotional clarity or for inspiration, perhaps?
All the time. Actually, there's songs that I've had that I find the first written down version of it. So like there's songs that I have on streaming services where I look back and I like when I'm trying to revamp things or redo things, and we'll get more into that. I don't want to really talk about that because that goes into like the album piece of things too, because there's revamped things on my album too. So it just depends. But I go back to look through things all the time.
Nice.
I try to keep everything I can. I mean, loose leaf paper, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, I have a bunch of spiral notebooks about a bunch of college rule, just regular old composition notebooks. But for the most part, I try to keep every single detail so I don't forget things, but also so if I want to go back and reference something, I can see where I was trying to get with that idea or this sound. Because sometimes I write notes and not music. I'll just write things about like how I wanted to record the record, how I wanted to do the lead vocals, the background vocals, how many stacks I wanted to do for this harmony, that harmony. I try to be as detailed as I possibly can. So
when did you start learning about all the different aspects of songs? Because what all the stuff you were talking about, it's like that must have been like a whole process.
Well, shout out to Mark Collier, Inverted Arts, because Inverted Arts is actually the reason why I actually started learning that part of things. And just to give a little promo to Inverted Arts is a nonprofit organization. His name is Mark Collier. He is the one who started it. He has a huge team of people and board members who are, amazing people, all appreciated, love them till the day I die. I actually met Mark Collier when I was, I think, 12.
Whoa.
And I went to the school Sojourner Truth Academy in North Minneapolis, and he came in with some artist mentors. And so they wanted to do film, and then they wanted to do song recording.
Nice.
And so, of course, I chose the song recording. But I had friends who did film, and then I had some friends who did song recording. And so we did this song called They Don't Know Us. It was produced by Neil Sharma. Yeah, Neil Sharma. And then it was also produced by Broderick. I don't remember his last name, but Broderick, I've known him since I was a child, and he just so happened to work at the school. So,
that's a beautiful coincidence.
So yeah, so that was like my big introduction into that, and then later on, I hit up Mark, and I was like, hey, I want to record my own music. I want to actually like do this and like make this good. And so I was younger, so I was a little bit like weary about it. I was just kind of like, I don't know, but then I did it, and then I stopped with Mark. I was like, you know what? I don't know. I don't really know you. But at the same time, it wasn't like he did anything. It was just my own self, like being overprotective, because I've just had to do that. And then as I got older, I reached back out once I moved back to Anoka. Once I moved out to Anoka. And then ever since then, we just started creating records together. Some of my best songs, Mark produced personally.
Nice.
So, and I don't know, Mark is just amazing because Mark is the type of person, like, you know how people talk about Prince, like he can just play instruments, he can hear anything and he could play it. Mark is that person. Mark, I've showed him ideas for certain songs and songs that you might have heard on streaming services that he has done, and I've shown him maybe a YouTube track or an idea, and he went back and he recreated it like within a couple of days.
Cool. So, that's so nice to have access to talent like that. That's amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
The dynamic duo.
Yes, definitely.
Along your music making process, did you ever try to like record yourself or produce any of your own beats or tracks?
Funny thing, everyone has had a SoundCloud.
Yes.
So I don't know if you guys did your research
that deep,
but you said Star Rocky, and the only thing I have for Star Rocky, or used to be Star Rocky, is SoundCloud. So
self-production on there?
No, not self-production, self-recording. I can't play any instruments, just to put that out there.
Okay.
All I can do is vocally produce and write the song, and I can mix now. Like I can mix my own voice now.
That's huge.
But I can't play any instruments, but I can do the harmonies, I can do the vocal producing and the arranging of a record as well. But also, the songwriting. That's the biggest piece to me, is the songwriting.
Well, that's huge. Yeah, you said, "Oh, I just sing and do the songwriting and make." It's not just. Those are each individually feats on their own, and you're wearing multiple hats.
One time I was talking to Sayla, and she was like, "You are a producer. You do know that, right?" And I was like, "It doesn't feel like it, but I mean, I guess." But she was like, "You do this, 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 and this," and she was like, "You need to like take into account that is what a producer does as well." So. Yeah.
What are some instruments on your list that you'd love to learn within your lifetime?
The piano.
Okay.
I feel like the piano is the base of all instruments. Piano is literally the start for me. It's the end all be all. I feel like if you can learn how to play the piano, because most people say that it's the most difficult. So if you can learn how to play that, I feel like you can pick up anything else and play it. And it might not be that so easy and so simple, but at the same time, it's like all these keys, like every piano is different. Most pianos have, like if you're talking a grand piano, it has probably over 40 to 50, 60, 70, maybe 100 keys. Who knows?
Wow.
So it just depends. It just depends.
But that's on the top of the list.
Yeah, top of the list, for sure, for sure.
Plus, you can do the midis and, pretty much put any instrument into a keyboard.
Exactly.
So
and if you learn how to play the piano, you can literally do anything else. Because I have people that I have collaborated with on certain records, and they know how to play the piano. So making a beat for me, or making the instrumental, or coming up with a composition is not that hard, because they can just think within their brain, how can I mend all these sounds together? And then from there, it's just mixing and just putting your voice on there. That's all it is.
That's awesome.
With a touch of magic.
Exactly.
Yes. It takes a lot of magic.
Definitely. So we got to take a break in about a minute. I just want to make sure we get your social medias and the ways people can find you out there the easiest. So it's The Truth Teller is the artist name. So that's Apple Music, YouTube, Spotify, Tidal,
Amazon,
everywhere. And then the Instagram is at The Truth Teller Music.
Yes.
Easy as pie.
Same with YouTube.
Yes.
Any other socials that you want to be followed on, or that you can predict in this next year you'll be rocking on more?
I don't have any other social medias that I would necessarily want to be followed on. No.
All right.
No.
Keep an eye on the YouTube. Keep an eye on the streaming services. Obviously, subscribe to him on there.
Yes.
We're going to be right back with more of The Truth Teller here on DogStar. We're going to be, walking along the journey a little bit more in the present day.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Bow wow.
Bow wow.
Bow wow.
Welcome back to DogStar.
Sitting down with the Truth Teller, learn about your early years.
Yes.
Kind of how you were getting your first taste of music. Yes. When was the first song you wrote? Can we find that anywhere? Or?
Is it in one of these notebooks, or is it recorded somewhere?
It's in
wrote and recorded.
Okay.
It's in the notebooks.
Okay.
You'll never find it. You'll never find it. I'm not sharing that with the world. It was horrible. But what I will say is that it's in my very first original songbook. I still have it to this day. So yeah, it's there. But you'll never hear it.
And what about, speaking of something else we might not ever hear, what about the first recorded song? Is that on a flash drive in the safe or something?
It actually was on SoundCloud. I took it down.
Okay.
I locked it, actually. I didn't take it down.
So it's still accessible to you.
Yeah, I can still hear these songs. Like, yeah, I can still hear these songs, but no, you'll never be able to hear it.
And what was it about the song that you didn't want to give people access to, I would say?
Once I actually started finally recording music again, and I was like at an age where it was like, okay, we're here. Like mentally we're here. Like maturity, like we're okay. Like we're somewhat at a point where it's like it's not garbage. So yeah, that's that.
So there's a certain baseline of quality maybe, and
yes,
it's like everything that's past here can stay.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, some of the songs on SoundCloud I still should take down that are up currently. So for me, I'm really big on quality now because there's been a lot of songs that have lacked the quality. They might have been good songs or might have had good content, but they lack quality. So like there's songs on my SoundCloud like Selfish or like Hurting Over You or even the original Never Did. And I'm like, oh, I should take those down.
Yeah, but you're in a good habit of like remastering songs that you like that you want to sound better because there's nothing wrong with that. And all the remixes so far have been worth it. I feel like if you're messing with the original, it better be better. Yeah. And I think you did a good job. It's not just different. It is it is progress.
While we're on the topic, what were your previous artist names, if you could chronologically run through them for the fans?
I only had 2.
Okay.
So the one that I have currently, The Truth Teller, that's my end all be all. I actually have it tattooed on my arm right here. So like this middle tattoo is The Truth Teller. Shout out to Back to the Basics Inc. Kato, he's the owner of the shop. It's over south. He did that. And this font was so intricate, and I really appreciate him because this is the tattoo that I really, really wanted at the time. And it was also, I have a tradition for my birthday, so every year I get a tattoo. So I have 13 tattoos. So every year I get a tattoo, and this was one of the tattoos. And I was really broke at the time, so I stretched it and used money I really wasn't supposed to. So I was just really appreciative that he was able to work with me and do this amazing tattoo. And then my first stage name was The Truth Teller. I mean, Star Rocky.
Star Rocky.
Star Rocky.
Okay.
What was the significance of that name?
Oh, there was no significance. Honestly, I just like the name Star. And Rocky just kind of came with it. That's really what it was.
Oh, sweet. Just good branding. You're like, this sounds like
horrible branding, but yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, hey, I think it sounds cool.
And I typing it a few times the last few days. The triple R, that's pretty sweet.
I had to kind of make it different, and it's not just triple R; it's the triple Y with Rocky as well.
I thought it was double R for Star, double Y, but then the R of
double R and then double Y.
But then all of them, nonetheless. The Truth Teller is what we're here to talk about.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, what was the tattoo you got today for your birthday?
I haven't yet.
2025.
Oh, it's still after the show.
Yeah, I haven't yet. We're still trying to figure out who's going to do that tattoo.
But do you have an idea for what it's going to be?
Yeah, actually, I reached out because the person who did the Truth Teller tattoo, I reached out to him.
Right.
And he declined the idea. And so I was like, oh, damn. I was like, okay, this is crazy. But the tattoo idea that I have is a tree, but the tree is going to be intricate and different and very complex because the tree, I want it to be made out of music notes. I want it to be a music tattoo. I don't have any music tattoos. And so, and it's crazy because I'm an artist. So it's like, what's going on here? But I want it to be a tree made out of music notes, and then I want the branches and the leaves to be song lyrics.
Sick.
That's the tattoo I want. So I want it to be very different. Like, it looks like a tree, but when you look close up, it's very intricate and very detailed and very complex.
Nice.
That's my idea.
That sounds sick.
Yeah, so.
Heck yeah.
And it was just literally something I thought of because I've always gotten words. Like, there's a bunch of words on my hands. The only thing I have that's kind of like different is this rose on my thumb. That's it. And then the Capricorn symbol. That's it. Everything else is words. So it's like, besides the Roman numerals on my ankle. But yeah, so I was like, I want to do something different this time. I want to have like actually a big tattoo, not too big, but big at the same time. So
nice.
Yeah, just depends.
I like that birthday tradition. For
sure. That's a good one. And you'll have them forever. You'll have the memories and, I mean, similar to saving the songbooks too. That's such a good habit that you're in to keep those on.
But I say we kick it off with honesty. If we're talking about the Truth Teller, more present day, recent past.
Yes.
We can go forward a little more if you want, or we can go backwards a little further.
Yes. What I will say is before honesty, Never Did.
Never Did. 2018.
I don't know if you guys heard that on SoundCloud.
Oh yeah.
But there's also a version on Apple Music. The version on Apple Music is from my live album. It's like a 3 track type of thing. Shout out to Savannah Davis, Slavana. She goes by. She's an artist as well. She is the person who played the live version of Never Did.
No way.
And then Mark Collier is the one who produced the original Never Did on SoundCloud.
Sick.
Never Did is probably one of my favorite songs, and it's my first, I say it's my first hit. That's what I call certain songs. Like, certain songs, I'm like, this is a hit. This was a hit. That was a hit. Honesty is a hit. That's one of the other songs that I placed in that. But Never Did I wrote that when I was like 16.
Really?
16, 17. I never had a heartbreak. I was never, it never was real.
So was it just listening to Mariah Carey sing about heartbreak or seeing it in your real life from other people?
Well, if you heard Selfish, I was rapping. If you heard If This Is Love, and these are SoundCloud records that I'm referring to, I was rapping on those songs. I sang in If This Is Love and Selfish, but I had at least a verse or two on either of the songs where I was rapping. And I went through a phase of that where I was just trying to rap. And I was right behind the scenes. I was writing a lot of rap verses, rap songs, all of that stuff. Singing hooks still, but I was like, oh, I'm tired of this. I was like, I have no songs. I was like, I'm literally just rapping. This doesn't make sense. I am a singer. What am I doing? And so one day I was in my room, and this is when I lived in Anoka. This was 2015, 2016, 2017, around that era. And I just started writing something down. And I was just winging it. It wasn't even meant to be good at all. And I remember this vividly. It wasn't meant to be good at all. And I was just writing and writing and writing. And then I was like, oh, this isn't bad. And then I went back, wrote it a couple more times, because then I found a beat that fit with it on YouTube. And so I was like, okay, let's see what this sounds like. And then I sang it and gave it a couple more tries. I found the melody that I liked. And so therefore, then Never Did blossomed. It was a lot more soulful. It was a lot different. It wasn't necessarily power ballad. It was more R&B. And then when I showed it to Mark, he made up something out of what he heard, and it was Never Did. And then that was boom. And everyone loves that record till this day. Everyone that knows me personally is like, oh, this record is you're one of your best. It's my favorite. And every time I do a show, and if someone that knows me is coming, they're like, "Are you singing Never Did?" So it's one of my favorites as well.
Is that kind of how your songwriting process still is, or has it evolved quite a bit since then?
It's evolved a bit. I don't really get in the mood of oh, I'm not doing this, so I want to do this anymore. I just do what I want. I don't care. I do what I want. Absolutely. I don't really think about what people want to hear anymore. But my songwriting process, it varies. It really varies. Sometimes, working on this album for the past couple of years, I really have been in a severe writer's block due to just events in my life. And even Honesty, before I wrote Honesty, there was a severe writer block before that too.
Whoa.
And so it's just take it day by day type of situation. Songs kind of spurt out as the years go by, and then I start creating a project out of that. That's kind of how it goes for me sometimes.
Just gotta catch it when it comes out.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's really that.
I was gonna ask other creatives, you're on the step team in high school, so that's creative and creative people. What was your network of creative people like maybe moving out of high school into more songwriting stuff? Were you hanging around people recording stuff all the time?
Yes. So Slavana, that's her stage name, Savannah Davis. She was someone that I met in the middle, or actually before, I did Never Did. So Mark Collier, how Selfish and Hurting Over You came about was he produced Selfish as well. So he created that beat as well. And then Hurting Over You, he helped produce that and vocally produce that as well, with the harmonies and stuff, because I really didn't understand that stuff back then. But I met her between like 2015 to 2017 in that time too. So like she's one of those people that also were around when I never did for like the first time in like the first show where I was performing this record and all of that stuff.
Wow.
And so she knows how to play the piano and stuff like that. So she was always around. And I met her through the Inverted Arts Company.
Mm-hmm.
And the first day we met, we were actually doing this show for Mark Collier because he put our music on streaming services.
Nice.
And so that was the Selfish and Hurting Over You records. And then from then on, we've just been
locked in, yeah.
Overly locked in, overly. And then eventually I met Selah. Also, you know, just being in high school. Shout out to Michelle Hayes. She works at Anoka High School. She's a choir teacher. She's an opera singer. She's amazing.
Wow.
She is absolutely amazing. I love her to death. She's the reason why I sing so well now.
Really?
Yes, because she took a chance on me. In high school, my freshman year, I was singing just in like third hour choir. So that third hour choir was like the whatever kids. That's kind of how
remedial. No.
Yeah, like some of y'all couldn't sing. Some of us could sing.
Some would just lip sync.
Yeah, some of us had talent, and some of us were just like evolving in our talent.
Right.
And so she was there to like nurture it. And so there was the Prince tribute because Prince died in my first year of high school. So that was like, I think 2015. I can't remember. Yeah, 2015. I was in freshman, I believe. And so I was a freshman, I believe. And so with that being said, when he died, we have this concert called the Pops Concert in Anoka High School. The Pop Concert is where you sing all pop music in choir arrangements. And then there's also time for people to do their own individual like solo things, whether it's pop records or whatever the case may be, as long as it's appropriate. And so, of course, Purple Rain came in the picture. And Anoka High School, Anoka in general, is a lot of white people. And I'm black, as you can see. And so I was like, oh, I know this song. I knew the whole song. And so she was talking about the third verse of the song. And that's the like, honey, I know. That part of the song where he just like lets it rip. And she was like, I'm going to put that up for like a solo. And I was like, I want to do that. But instead of the third verse, she gave me the whole song.
Whoa.
What?
And being a freshman, and then there's like seniors, and you know, there's concert choir, and then there's women's choir, and those are like 10th, 11th, and 12th. And so I'm like, wow, you gave me that. And so after that, I just blossomed from there. And then I did it 9th grade and 10th grade. And then that's also something I do every year around Black History Month as well. I honor Prince. So that's been a big part of my life for years.
That's huge.
Yep.
And yeah, what a good reminder that the way music touches people, and that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it was exciting because I love to sing and I love to perform. I love it. I've always loved it. Like doing step was like one of my biggest parts of high school. It was amazing for me because I just love to perform. And so when I did that, I got a standing ovation the first time. Second time, I was literally in like my economics class or something. And my teacher was like, you made me cry. And I was like, oh God, like that's crazy. And so ever since then, I'm just like, let's keep it going. Let's do something. And so like, shout out to Poetic Mama as well. She's dope. She booked me, I believe, earlier this year in February for a show, and I sang Purple Rain. And I honestly will say that's one of my best performances of Purple Rain. That's also on my Instagram.
Oh.
Yeah. The quality is a little shaky when it comes to like the audio, but it's one of my favorites.
Make sure you check that out at The Truth Teller Music on Instagram.
Yes.
Definitely. So yeah, the SoundCloud for the songs that if you want to go digging for them on SoundCloud, Love Never Ends. If This Is Love, both of those are
God.
under the original artist name.
Perhaps won't be around forever.
Right.
Don't embarrass me. Oh my
Selfish Never Did and Hurting Over You released under your government name. That's when you were rapping more, I would say? Or?
So Selfish and Hurting Over You was not put out by me.
Oh.
Now, my SoundCloud, it was put out by me.
Right.
But on streaming services, it was put out by Mark Collier. That was that situation of How I Met Savannah and all of that stuff.
Yep.
Oh, that's
And so
cool.
he did government names.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Eh?
Don't know why. I would have rather it had been my stage name.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he did that because...
So you could get the BMI or ask...
Well, and not even that. I feel like eventually, like, you would want to release under that name. And if he did that, you wouldn't be able to use that same name, probably. Because streaming services are finicky like that, especially DistroKid. So...
And that's who you're with now, DistroKid?
Yes, and that's who he released the songs under as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's not bad. But then, yeah, honestly, both versions dropped April 2021 on Spotify.
Yes.
Those are the official first tracks of Truth Teller.
Yeah, so Honesty, so the mastered version of Honesty, it's the same version, it's just mastered. It's just things are lifted up and you can actually hear the record better, and it actually has like a better quality, and that's something that I learned like a couple years after, because you said 2021 in April. So with Honesty was an interesting record. A lot of people, when they hear it, they're like, who is this about? That was literally that was the first reactions of people. With Honesty, that's an interesting record. It's
Sorry to interrupt you. We'll be right back with more of the Truth Teller here on DogStar.
Bow wow. Wow, wow.
Welcome back to DogStar.
Sitting down with the Truth Teller, getting into the official discography, the stuff that he wants you to hear. We've got Honesty or Honestly?
Honesty.
Honesty. I'm so sorry about that.
All good.
Honesty. The mastered version and the original.
Yes.
Is there something you like about the original? Maybe just like... Because you've got the mastered version, but you keep both of them up. Is there times a day you listen to either one?
Or is it that streaming service affinification?
Oh, right.
The streaming service thing.
I
left the original version up just because. Like, I was just like, you know what, just don't delete it. I like the album artwork. I created the album artwork for that. But with Honesty, it was just the quality. It was a good quality song. Like, it was mixed very well. Shout out to Mia Ishmael. She is one of my artist mentors, and she is someone that I met who worked at Anoka. And it's so funny because she knew my aunt, who's really big in the city. And so she's like family already, and I didn't even know. So when she came into Anoka, I was like, hi, how are you? And I was the first student to like introduce myself to her. And so we've just been locked in ever since.
That's so sweet.
So yeah.
In May of 2021, So Many Nights dropped.
Yes.
A little bit different of a vibe than Honesty.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that track?
First and foremost, I want to say this, even though I don't feel like I should say it, but shout out to Miles Graves as well, because he's the one who created the instrumental on Honesty.
Oh,
Interesting.
okay.
Yes, and that was a process and horrible. Honesty wasn't supposed to come out, but it ended up coming out. So thanks to Mia. But So Many Nights. So Many Nights is one of my deeper tracks. That's, if you paid attention, it's a picture of me as a child holding a Barbie doll. And it's really deep. Honesty, it goes into the topic of honesty with the relationship that I was being in, but it also goes into my internal feeling as well. I've always felt alone, and I always will feel that way. And that's just how it is for me. So it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but So Many Nights is really one of my favorite records. It's my heart and my soul. It's my core. It's everything. It means everything to me. And shout out to Mark Collier, because he's the one who produced that. And he literally blew me out the water with that one. So
Sick.
If you ever release that as a physical copy, I mean, as a fan, there's the phenomenal, I'd just call it almost a journal entry on SoundCloud under the description of this song that touches a little bit deeper on what you had just talked about a few seconds ago.
Yep.
And you should capture that or screenshot that and include it in like the liner notes of the 10th anniversary vinyl or something.
Yeah, I have ideas when I do the album stuff.
You're an artist. You've got ideas.
Yeah, I have ideas when I do the album stuff.
But definitely a bit more of a deeper dive for sure. Under the surface, just lyric wise.
Yeah, that's one of the songs where I didn't treat it like a traditional song. So there's like no verse, there's like no chorus, there's like no bridge. It just keeps going. And it has different, I would say, this is like a choir term. It has different movements in the song. So like every section is different. So like the first section, it's like harmony with like the nobody's listening, nobody loves me. And then it's the so many nights section. And then it's the oohs. And then the last is like a different kind of ooh. It's like a big hug. Those harmonies, and truth be told, that's why So Many Nights is one of my favorite records, because the very ending has harmonies that just like hug the inside of your inner child. It just hugs your soul. And that's really how I listen to it. And that's another song that I want to revamp and that I've been revamping so that it can come out with the quality that I've always wanted it to as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And then fall 2021 or August 2021, Black in America, the Sail of Sea project with you and Known MPLS, Known Minneapolis, The Choir, right?
Yes.
Released as a single and as the opening track of her album. That's got to feel great. I mean, it's an extremely powerful song.
Yes. I've only known Selah for about 4 to 5 years now. We met 2020, I believe, and the Known Choir, his name is Cortland Pickens. He's one of my aunt's really good friends. Oh. And so he knew me since I was a child. So it's like family with these people, you know? Ooh. And so he recommended me to Selah. Whoa. Because Selah already had another artist on the record, and I think she touched on that, so I'm not going to touch too much on that. But she had another artist on that record, and then that didn't work out. So then she was looking for someone else to complete the record. Like an honesty situation, it probably wasn't going to come out if she did not find what she was looking for. And then she found me, hit me up, and we met up, and there was these certain things. And it was a different, uncomfortable experience for me because I don't let people write for me. Because what people don't know is that whole song was written by Selah. Selah wrote Black in America 100%. The vision, the idea, down to the instruments, down to everything, the ultralight beam idea, sample, situation that was going on in that record, that was all Selah's mind. Cool. And she was 18 when she did that. And I believe she's like 21, 22 now. And so that was all her. And so it was weird for me at first, but then I got used to it. We recorded the song. There was no auto-tune either on that record. I was in that era of where I was like, and I don't use auto-tune. I just want to say that. We don't do auto-tune. We might have used pitch correction or something like that, but nothing ever heavy on my voice. But with that record, I was like, no pitch correction, no auto-tune, turn it all off, take the reverbs off, everything, and just sang it bare. And so with that record, it was just a new experience. Yeah. It was a work for hire situation, and then it turned into me and her being like best friends, going through everything together. So
that's so cool.
That's huge.
Yeah, great hearing the story behind that. And then Mind, Body, Soul is the album that's on.
Yes,
great
go
album.
Listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Go listen.
Boom, closing out 2021, Midnight Affairs.
Yes. Midnight Affairs is a play on honesty. It's one of those other records where, like, honesty is a true story. So everything that you hear me sing about, I just want to put this out there because we didn't touch on this aspect of the music. Everything that I write, everything that I sing is real for me. And so the lyrics are 100% written by me. I don't get help. I don't do any of that. The melodies, all of that stuff, that's my thoughts. That's my vision, my everything. And so with Midnight Affairs, it was another record where I literally was in the process of writing it months before that. And it just so happened that everything came together the way it did. And then I was like, you know what? We're going to drop that one. Savannah is the one who mixed that record as well. And, I dropped it December 3rd, and it was just up from there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Call You By Mine, I guess, is the next thing that we're at. We've got Call You By Mine and Call You By Mine Tribute.
Yes.
That's like the first chunk of 2023 is when those are popping on Spotify.
Yeah. So Call You By Mine, so funny. Savannah, she showed me and my partner at the time this movie called Call Me By Your Name. And it's a gay film. And it's controversial, so just look it up. But
I'm very familiar.
Yeah, it's a good movie though. Like it's a very good movie.
Controversial is a good way to put it.
But in the movie, he said to the boy, "Call me by your name, and I'll call you by mine." And I was like, I'm writing that down. I literally picked up my phone and I typed it in there, and I was like, I'm gonna go home and write a song about this. Watch this. And so later that night, I went home. And I wrote a song. And then I was trying to find a piano. And there was this piano that I had from like the 2014, 2015 era of my life. I never knew what to do with it. I didn't even know it was still in my hard drive. And so I literally looked in there, I played it, and I was like, oh, wow, what is this? What am I going to do with this? And then all of a sudden, I just was writing the song. I wrote about 4 to 5 times after that because I had to like get with the piano. There was no real structure with the piano. I didn't really know where the chorus was. I didn't really know where this was. But I kind of just guessed because I was like, once the piano starts getting loud, this clearly has to be the moment where it's going like a chorus or like a big movement. So you got to do something here. And so after that, I recorded it like a year or 2 before. So like I was working on Call You By Mine, the original version, for like 2 years before it actually came out.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm just a stickler. Like I'm very hard on myself. And so the vocals on that, I still don't really care for them. Now, the only vocals that I really care for is the part where it goes before the call me by your name, that part. And then the ad-libs and the ending of the song. That's really what I care about for that record. So that was a beautiful moment in my life, though. It was one of the records that honestly changed my life, too, because I have these moments where there's the never did, there's your honesty, there's your so many nights, and then there was Midnight Affairs, and then it was Call You By Mine. So all of these records were like, as I like to say, my hits.
Yeah.
And so I found another hit. Like I just was like, oh, this record is amazing. This song is amazing. So that's really where that came from.
That's so cool. And that's the one that you brought, and this is the one in the Instagram bio. This is the one this is the proudest song as far as I can tell.
Yeah, so Call You By Mine, there's 2 versions. There's the Call You By Mine with the Polaroid, and then there's the Call You By Mine with my uncle. My uncle died on Christmas in 2023, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, I'm sorry, 2022. He died on Christmas Day. It was like 7:00 in the afternoon. And so like the whole day went by, and then like I got a phone call like, oh, your uncle died. My dad called me, and I was just like, oh my God. And so it was really weird. And from that situation on, it's just been really weird for me. I deal with death differently. Like, even recently, me and Sayla, she had someone who was really, really close to her die. And it really hit me hard as well because it was just really weird. And then also, like, I can feel people's emotions without wanting to. I can feel everything in a room. And so it was really hard. And this time of year for me is really rough anyway because I'm numb to a lot of things.
Right.
I tend to just shut things out and just be like, I don't want to deal with it. Or not even I don't want to deal with it. I just don't feel it. I don't let myself feel it a lot of the times. I try to just keep it in the music so I don't go insane mentally at the same time. So, yeah. But Call You By Mine Tribute Savannah produced that, and it became a very special record because I wanted to change it up and I wanted to make it different at the same time, because I just felt like the quality of the Call You By Mine record was not there. But the Call You By Mine record, it was played on KMOJ, I believe, by one of the DJs. I actually worked at T-Mobile around this time that I created Call You By Mine. And I met somebody who knew somebody at KMOJ, and they called me on my birthday like, hey, this is your record. We're playing it, da-da-da-da. So that was a really dope experience.
That's amazing. Shout out KMOJ.
Yes, yes. And so with that being said, you know, a year goes by or whatever, I released the Call You By Mine, and then months go by. June 3rd, I believe, is when I released the Call You By Mine tribute version. And I was just okay with that. And Savannah, she helped me come up with the instrumental part of it, and then she also helped me clean up the mixing on the harmonies, and then I went back and mixed it over again. And it's funny because I had COVID when I actually recorded the record.
What?
So we had to use pitch correction because that was probably the hardest record I ever had to record because I literally had COVID in that moment.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't know till like the day after I sat and recorded with her. And so it was all over the place. But I wanted to change it, and I wanted to still make it as powerful as the first record.
Right.
Because in the first record, I hold out like a really long note. And then in the second one, I hold out the same note, but then I kind of like shift it up a little bit within it. So it just makes it different, but it's still just as powerful.
Just as powerful.
There's your ballad and then power ballad.
Oh, I love it. Exactly. Perfect example.
Yeah.
So we've only got 20 seconds left. I don't know how we did this to ourselves, but the Ballads Live is a 3-track project with live versions of Reason to Love,
Yes.
Honesty, and
Yes.
Never Did. We're about to get into Call You By Mine tribute, correct? Is that the version we got?
Indeed it is.
Yes.
So enjoy. Thank you so much for your time, man.
This has been The Truth Teller on DogStar.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Wow. Thank you.
Call me by it. We kept a love secret, hiding from the world. We were ashamed 'cause it wasn't boy and girl. We were hiding in the darkness, playing in the shadows. For life and for love, I had you, and two was enough. We haven't done anything to be ashamed of, and that's how we should keep it. Don't say a word, and that's how we should leave it. I left you alone after everything in your heart. I pick up the pieces. I'm sorry we fell in love and now I'm gone.